welcome back to the Mike and Andrew Show. I'm Andrew Serwick here again with Mike Meredith. Mike, how are you doing this fine Thursday evening?
Pretty good, man. Ready to hop into this episode.
Yeah, lots to talk about. Real quick before we get in, we're gonna do Thursday night football, and then we're gonna talk the World Series here. So, real quick though, Thursday night football about to kick off in about 10 minutes now. It's the Titans on the road in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's a 3-point favorite in this one. Um, Look, this is not a very exciting game for prime time. That seems to be a theme lately the last few years. We've had a lot of shitty games on Thursday night, but look, I'm gonna go with the home team in this one, man. I can't believe in the Titans, and the Steelers. Just while they have a winning record, they're playing a lot better than anyone expected. The Titans, man, they just can't get it done against any teams that they really should be able to beat uh, week in week out. So I'm gonna go with the Steelers here, man. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going with the Steelers as well. The Titans, they definitely played better last week. They beat the Colts, but I don't have faith in them. It seems like they are one of the teams that are always up and down no matter what all the time. So I'm going to go with the home team. I'm going with the Steelers. They always find a way to somehow win. Kenny Pickett's back for the game today, so I think the Steelers will pull it out. I think that 3-point line is pretty fair. I think it'll be a pretty close game.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, Kenny Pickett is back, so that definitely helps Pittsburgh. They don't have to deal with Trubisky anymore, so yeah, should be a good game here, at least for the Steelers. So, anyways, man, last night we had the World Series winner, Texas winning it 5-0 last night to win the first World Series in franchise history. Man, that was an exciting game last night.
Yeah, it was, man. And I know Texas, they really came out late. It was pretty much a pitching duel through most of it, man. Like 6 or 7 innings, scoreless. Texas breaking it open and getting that W, man. I really thought Arizona would win, and then Texas would win in Game 6. But not the case, man. The gentleman's sweep. Texas gets their first championship in the franchise history, man.
Yeah, it was a pretty good pitching battle through 6 innings. It was 0-0, and then Garver opened up the scoring, sending Seager home, and from there it was just a just a shutout for Texas, man. I know Semien had a 2-run home run in the ninth to really just seal the deal, and then a strikeout to end the game last night, and it couldn't have gone any more perfect for Texas. It was the gentleman's sweep. But yeah, man, what a World Series, man. A lot. And both these teams weren't even close to the playoffs last year, and now this year both of them make it to the World Series. Very under the radar teams, especially Arizona.
Yeah, and Arizona, man, they have nothing to be ashamed of, losing in the World Series. Like I said, they were projected to not even make the playoffs, and they made it all the way to the World Series. They have a great young team. I definitely could see them coming back in the future. In Texas, man, I mean, they won all the games on the road in the postseason. They were, I think, 11-0 in games on the road, and who we just mentioned, Marcus Semien, he played in every single game this year. I saw it was like 179 games, so he was great. And Corey Seager as well, winning the World Series MVP. That's what you can do in baseball, man. Building through free agency, they signed those two guys to big free agent contracts a year ago, and it paid off. They were two of the main staples in this team winning the World Series.
Yeah, crazy what spending a little money can do for your team. Take notes, Chris Ilitch. Um, man, that's just as a Tigers fan, it just hurts seeing all these guys, all these teams spending money, and then hey, look at that, they have success. It's almost like spending money in baseball gives you, success. Crazy how that works, right? But Yeah, man. It was just a really solid season from Texas. Obviously, they were under the radar all season, and so was Arizona. And like you said, man, they have nothing to be ashamed of. When you're not expected to go to the to even make the playoffs, and you go to the World Series, that is it takes a lot from a team to do that, and Arizona has nothing to be ashamed of from this series, man. That wraps up the MLB season there. So we're gonna get back to football now. Back to covering this weekend slate of games for the NFL in Germany. We have the Chiefs and the Dolphins. Kansas City's a 1.5 point favorite in this one. Um, I can't really say this is a road game for the Dolphins, but I also can't say it's a home game for the Chiefs. Again, it is in Germany. But look, I think the Dolphins are going to win this one. The Chiefs' offense, there's just something wrong there. And Miami's offense has proven that they can go up against some pretty tough defenses and score. And the Chiefs, it baffles me how their defense is actually better than their offense this year, which we haven't seen that in forever with this team. They're a heavily offensive, minded team, and this year, man, that offense just isn't going. So I'm gonna go with Miami in this one. Uh, I think it's gonna be a close game still, but yeah, man, Miami's gonna take this dub.
Yeah, I think so too, man. Just the Chiefs um, don't look that impressive. They were horrible last week. Usually, when teams are pretty bad against bad teams, they'll bounce back the following week. But I like Miami in this game too, man. I think their offense is going to be too much to handle, and they're going to go crazy. Even though both teams are going to be dealing with the travel, which is going to definitely affect them. I feel like the London games were the same way, where uh, teams just didn't play as well there. So we'll see, but I think that Miami's going to take this one.
Yeah, it's just everything's looking like Miami's gonna win, and yeah, the Chiefs might bounce back after a bad loss, but right now, man, I couldn't even put the Chiefs, in my top five teams right now, man. They've just been playing very mediocre football. The Ravens will host the Seahawks on Sunday afternoon. Baltimore is a 6 point favorite in this one. And look, I think Baltimore, they are at times a good team. At other times, they're a very bad team. Other times, they're kind of just average. Seattle, though, I feel like they're pretty consistent. Um, and I feel like Geno Smith can, pull some stops out here, and he's going to get them the win here. I think Seattle wins by probably about a field goal in this one.
I think that this is going to be a very close game here. Both these teams have done super solid up until this point, but I think I'm going to go with the Ravens on this one, the home team. I think it's probably about a field goal win for the Ravens. They've looked a little bit more impressive. The Seahawks have definitely played well as well, but Geno, he's had his struggles here. Um, you know, the last couple weeks they barely squeaked past the Browns, and the Cardinals was even a little close game as well. So I'm gonna go with the Ravens on this one.
Yeah, this I think no matter what is going to be a very close game here. The Browns will host the Cardinals. The Browns are an 8 point favorite in this one. Look, uh, the Browns' defense is really good. Arizona's offense, now they don't have Josh Dobbs in this one. Um, Obviously, he got traded away to Minnesota here, so I believe Clayton Tune will be starting for Arizona, as I believe Kyler Murray's still also out, which obviously is not something that you want to have, but it is what it is. I think Cleveland wins this one. Arizona's defense also blows. I know the Browns' offense isn't that good, but I mean, they're still going to probably outscore Arizona pretty well here.
Yeah, I'm going with the Browns too. Just can't trust Arizona where they're at right now. Only got the one win. They're pretty dang bad. So even though Cleveland is beat up at points here on their team. I think that they'll take the win here.
Texans host the Bucks. Houston's just a 3-point favorite in this one. Um, Look, the Texans have been struggling the last few weeks, especially CJ Stroud. He has not been playing his best ball like he was early on in the season. The Bucks are trying to find a way to bounce back after a couple bad losses, obviously to Detroit. Excuse me, losing to Detroit and also uh, losing uh, to the Falcons and the Bills. So they're on a bit of a skid here um, in this one. But I think Tampa is the better team overall. I think Baker's gonna make something happen in this one. I know Stroud has been struggling a lot lately, but I think this is gonna be a very close game. I could see it by literally a last second field goal or something. But I just think Tampa has a slightly better team, so I'm gonna go with Tampa in this one.
Um, yeah, so I think this is going to be another very close game. I'm going to go with Houston, though, which is crazy because I didn't think I'd be picking them much at all this year. But I think CJ Stroud has a nice bounce back game here after the loss to the Panthers last week. He's got something to prove. I'm going to go with the Texans.
Yeah, look, part of me wants to pick the Texans. I don't know, man. I don't know if C.J. Stroud can bounce back, but he very well could. It's just a matter of really if he can. The Saints host the Bears. The Saints are just a 8.5 point favorite in this one. Look, the Bears blow. They have no offense at all. Their defense is garbage. The Saints at least have somewhat of a pulse. Um, I believe Derek Carr is playing too. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Saints in this one. They're definitely gonna cover as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Saints as well. Um, they are just, um, you know, the better team. The Bears are just you can't trust what they're doing, man. They were looking and still look like one of the worst teams in the league. So I'm definitely rolling with the Saints here.
Yeah, there's just so much that the Bears just blow at, and well, the Saints, they're a winning team. They're definitely in their division fight, so I think they definitely have a chance to win this division still. Because man, that NFC South is so bad. The Falcons will host the Vikings. Atlanta's a 4-point favorite in this one. Look, Heineke's now the starter for the Falcons. Obviously, Josh Dobbs got traded to Minnesota. He's their starter now, but he ain't an upgrade from whoever their fucking backup is in Minnesota. Um, he ain't a backup, or he ain't that much better. And no Justin Jefferson. Atlanta has a top 10 defense statistically. I'm going to go with Atlanta in this one. I think they have a lot more going for them. Minnesota's offense is on its last legs here, and their defense is okay. The Falcons I think are just going to run the hell out of the ball using Bijan. So yeah, I'm going with Atlanta this one. They're going to definitely cover as well.
Yeah, I'm going with Atlanta as well. Jay Jettis is still out. Josh Dobbs, this is going to be his first game with the Vikings. I think things are going to be shaky. I think Atlanta, honestly, I'm glad they finally made this move to Taylor Heineke, even though Taylor Heineke's not that great. I would take him over Desmond Shitter, man, like all day. He's been there and done that. He can definitely run an offense. But I think, like you said, Bijan's just going to have a nice 100-yard game, and he's going to go off.
Yeah, I just don't think the Vikings offense is going to be able to hold up, especially with just how much is going wrong for them right now. And Atlanta's defense, again, like I said, they're top 10 defense statistically. So, you know, I think Atlanta has all the cards in their hand. Green Bay will host the LA Rams. Green Bay is actually a 3-point favorite in this one. Both these teams are coming in with a losing record. Obviously, the Packers, we know just how bad they are. The Rams are also lately, playing some pretty bad football after a pretty strong start to the year. It seems like since Cooper Cup came back, they just haven't been able to do a whole lot, which is kind of weird. Um, but yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the Rams still. The Packers defense really sucks, and yeah, man, I think the Rams pull off the W here.
Yeah, I like the Rams as well. It's gonna be tough though because I believe Stafford, is out or he's still dealing with that injury. So it's gonna be tough to see what happens there. But Jordan Love, man, he's just not it. I mean, he fooled us so much week one, man. It was the Bears. He had that great game, and then ever since then it's been horrible. He's like, I think I saw today out of the quarterbacks, he ranks 28th, and I'm not sure if it was QBR or what QB statistic, but he's definitely down there, man. So I'm gonna go roll with the Rams.
Yeah, I don't see how the Packers offense is gonna really do anything, man. It's just they're just so bad. Jordan Love, yeah, I think it is QBR. He's the worst in the league with it. New England is gonna be hosting the Commanders. New England's actually a 3-point favorite in this one. Um, Look, the Commanders' offense is kind of just there. It's just not great. It's not good, but it ain't terrible. It's just kind of like middle of the road. That said, they lost their entire defensive front, obviously with uh, Montez Sweat and Chase Young both being gone. Man, they have no pass rush now. I know New England's offense is shit, man, but I think New England could probably squeak this one out considering just how bad the Commanders' defense is now.
Yeah, Commanders, of course, trading off Montez Sweat and Chase Young. I do not believe in New England, man. I'm gonna still roll with the Commanders here. I know that their defense uh, took a huge hit with no pass rush. It feels like now, but I mean, is Mac Jones really gonna do anything? I can't see it, man. I'm gonna go with the Commanders.
Yeah, look, this is gonna be a very low-scoring game, close game though. Um, I just when you don't have a pass rush, man, you're gonna allow you can allow bad quarterbacks to have good games if you don't have a pass rush. And now that Commanders don't have one, man, I just think Mac Jones will at least be able to settle in a little bit and make better reads, make better throws, and they'll somehow pull out the W there. The Panthers host the Colts on in the afternoon games here. Indianapolis just a 2.5 point favorite in this one. Look, the Panthers blow. They finally got their win last week, man. And the Colts, they have not been good ever since Anthony Richardson went down. But that said, man, the Colts are a much better team. I think on both sides of the ball. So yeah, I'm gonna roll with the Colts here. I think they cover that 2.5 point spread as well. I feel like Jonathan Taylor's gonna do a little bit more work this week, especially because the Panthers can't stop the run. Um, so yeah, man, I'm gonna roll with the Colts on this.
Yeah, I'm going with the Colts too. The Panthers stink, and well, the Colts aren't much better. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to have a nice workload. I think he will step up in this game and uh, just take over. And I think that the Panthers, while they had that win last week, it wasn't a pretty one. It was definitely an ugly, low scoring game. So if they do win, it's going to probably be similar. But I think that Indy will come out with the win.
Yeah, I think they definitely will in this one. Vegas hosts the Giants. Vegas a 2 point favorite in this one. Um, the Raiders, obviously, I think it was yesterday. They fired Josh McDaniels, um, and they also fired um, their general manager, and Jimmy G got benched as well.
Yep.
All within the same day. Their owner, obviously, he is trying to blame everyone but himself for the mess that he's created there in Vegas. Um, Look, I I think they're gonna win because the Giants are just that bad. But seeing the way that defense played, I almost want to think that Daniel Jones might tear this team up. Um, but let's face it, that's not going to happen. I think the Raiders win. This is going to be a very low scoring game, though. Regardless, I think we're going to see something like a 14-13 win. Like is going to be very close and it's going to be very low scoring.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I think that um, it's just it's tough for both teams because the Giants have been so bad on both sides of the ball, and then the Raiders, who the Lions literally just sent into rebuild mode with them canning everyone. So I think I'm going to go with the Raiders here. I think that their defense will hold up because even against the Lions, I mean, even though the Lions were driving down the field, their red zone, they were stopping them in the red zone. So I think Max Crosby, will play a factor here, and I'm going to go with the Raiders.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the Raiders will win this. This is still going to be just a very low scoring game. I mean, like the Lions did struggle in the red zone. I don't even think the Giants are gonna might not even come close to the red zone. Maybe once or twice, but that's about it. I just think the Raiders' defense is a lot better. Obviously, we know the Giants' defense is very bad, so yeah, it's gonna be a low scoring game. I think Vegas just barely pulls this one out though. The Eagles host the Cowboys in Philadelphia here. Philly is just a 3-point favorite in this one. Philly, obviously, they're the number one team in the league right now. They're the only team with one loss. The Cowboys, their defense has been meh at times. Their offense has been okay at times. Just the Eagles, their offense is just so good, and their defense is also very, very solid. They're a top 10 defense statistically as well. I think the Eagles win this one, man. They're at home. They have every single advantage on both sides of the ball. So yeah, Eagles win this one, and I definitely think they cover that 3.5 3 point spread for sure.
Yeah, I'm going the Eagles too. I think that they're better. I think they're probably the best team right now of anyone, and the Cowboys, man, they always choke those big games. So I'm gonna go with the Eagles.
Bengals will host the Bills. The Bengals are just a 2 point favorite in this one, actually. Look, the Bengals they've bounced back after a really rough start, just like they did last year. Um, Joe Burrow's been playing some really good football lately. The Bills have struggled at times this year, man. I mean, losses to the Jets definitely, not the Jets. No, yeah, the Jets. Um, almost losing to the Giants, losing to the Jags, man. Like they didn't play a whole. They haven't played, and they losing to the Patriots, man. They've just been up and down. I think Cincinnati does win this game, man. Especially just the way that they've been playing so far this year. They've been slow to start, but they picked it up and they've been consistent ever since, and they've been winning and playing some damn good football.
Yeah, I'm glad that you took Cincinnati. I was thinking that we might have been split on this one, but I'm going the Bengals as well. The Bills haven't looked as great, and Cincinnati I think is rolling right now. They've come off some big wins. I think it's their time, man. They're home in this game. I'm going the Bengals.
Yeah, that home field advantage definitely plays a factor in this one as well. I think the Bills will keep that close though the entire game, but I just don't see them winning. And then lastly, Monday night, the Jets host the Chargers. The Chargers are just a 3.5 point favorite in this one. Um, and look, the Chargers defense is pretty good. Um, they're a hell of a lot better than the Jets defense. No, not a hell of a lot better than the Jets defense. I think they'll definitely be able to stop Zach Wilson. Um, and their offense, I think they're going to struggle against that Jets defense, who's obviously one of the best defenses in the league right now. This is going to be a low scoring game. I do think LA pulls it off. I just don't see how the Jets are going to score a whole lot of anything. They haven't been able to score a whole lot this season. Yeah, they're 4-3, and they've got some pretty clutch victories. Obviously, the win over the Bills, which no one saw coming. Um, Yeah, man, I think the Chargers win this one, but just barely.
Yeah, I think so too. Them Chargers, man, can't be trusted. But I think in this one, I like them more over the Jets in this one. I don't think the Jets have any offense, and um, I'm gonna go with the Chargers on this one, especially because they have a big game the following week, of course, against the Lions. So they got to come out with a big win.
Yeah, they go into that game next week against the Lions at home off a win against a damn good defense in the Jets. It's gonna be a nice game for sure. So that wraps up this week's slate of games. We're gonna do some NFL power rankings. Obviously, we didn't get into that on Tuesday's episode like we normally do. Um, so yeah, man. Going into this week, your top 10 is pretty interesting. So at number 10 is the Seattle Seahawks. They move up into the top 10. They were in 11th last week. Um, Obviously, they had a win over Cleveland, whose defense is pretty damn good this year. I you could argue, yeah, Seattle definitely a top 10 team this year. I think they're fine right there.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that they are definitely on that borderline, but I like them in the top 10.
Staying at number 9, the Buffalo Bills. Um, they had a decent week this week. Um, that said, man, uh, they haven't been playing the best football this week, or not this week, this year. Um, so I think I think they are top 10 teams still, but they need to fix a lot of problems. Obviously, they addressed the corner issue on defense. Um, I think that definitely will help them long term. So I think right there at 9, pretty damn good.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's a solid spot for them.
Moving down 5 spots to number 8, the 49ers. 3 losses in a row now. Brock Purdy's a fraud. Their defense obviously just got massively upgraded by adding Chase Young. So, I mean, we could probably see them start looking a lot better, at least defensively now. I still think Brock Purdy's a fraud, but yeah, man, this 3 losses in a row, man, against some pretty subpar teams. It's just not it. I think they're pretty good there at number 8.
Yeah, I can't believe that they've dropped to 5-3, man. I thought they were gonna possibly go undefeated, possibly 1 or 2 losses. Now they got 3. They're banged up right now, but I mean, you have to drop them. I mean, if they keep losing games, you can't keep them up at the top, even though on paper they probably got the best team in football.
Yeah, there's just a lot going on right now. I don't know what, but that offense just for some reason fell apart. But they have a very scary pass rush now with Nick Bosa and Chase Young. So we'll see how that goes the rest of the season. Obviously, they're on a bye this week, so we won't be able to see that in action just yet. Staying at number 7, the Detroit Lions. I think this is a good spot for them. I mean, obviously, getting blown out by Baltimore is pretty embarrassing. It dropped them out of the top 5 when they did that, and deservingly so. But this week, obviously a pretty decent win over the Raiders. The red zone offense did struggle, though, which is kind of concerning. But, David Montgomery's the workhorse in the red zone, which I think that probably played a bit of a factor in that. But Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously, like we said on Tuesday, breakout game for him. Really, really good game for him. And the defense obviously stood out as well. I think number 7 here is still pretty damn good, though.
Yeah, number 7's good. I'd like to see him a little bit higher, but again, that's probably just some bias there. But I'm glad to see they're going back up in the rankings.
Yeah, there's some teams ahead of them I would definitely put behind them just based on the way they've been playing, but we'll get into that when we get into that. Going up 2 spots, the Dallas Cowboys. They're number 6. Um, Obviously, they you know have been on and off all season. The loss to the Cardinals was obviously embarrassing for them. And then they lost to San Francisco, which I think, at the time we all thought, hey, well, San Francisco's, the best team. And now they've kind of proven that they're not. But Dallas, man, they've been pretty damn good at times. Offensively, you know, uh, they like this week they played some pretty damn good football, especially Dak. He looked really really good. Um, so yeah, man, I think this is pretty good where they're at number 6. I wouldn't really want to put them any higher, but I don't think I'd put them lower either.
Yeah, I think that's solid. I mean, they had a really dominant performance, so gotta give them some credit there. But yeah, I don't think any higher than that would be. I think that where they're at right now is fine.
Uh, Moving up just 1 spot to number 5, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look, they're 6-2 team right now. I think there's a team ahead of them that I would put them ahead of, just because yeah, Jacksonville kind of struggled, but lately they've been playing some pretty good games. Um, they started off 1-2 on the season, but they've won 5 in a row now, and pretty convincingly as well. I'd probably put them at like that number 4 spot, but yeah, they're definitely a top 5 team right now. They're definitely playing like it.
Yeah, Jacksonville's been solid. I like them at number 5.
Only reason why I don't like them at number 5 is because at number 4, dropping 3 spots, is the Kansas City Chiefs. Look, that offense has just been struggling all year long. Obviously, they lost to Detroit, which isn't all too bad, considering how good Detroit is. But then you lose to the Broncos, and you damn near lost to them the first time you played them this year. And you've only gone over 30 points twice this entire season, and that was against abysmal teams. And even bad teams like the Broncos, you weren't even close to putting up 30 points on. Uh, I can't agree with them being at this number 4 spot, especially when you have teams that are actually playing really good ball and beating good teams, and making bad teams look bad. And Kansas City hasn't even been able to make bad teams look bad in their wins. There's something just wrong with Kansas City right now. I don't know what it is, but something just is not working with Mahomes right now.
Yeah, I think 4 is fine. I mean, I'm fine dropping them to like 5, maybe even 6, just because, like you said, their wins haven't been too impressive. The only real impressive, well, they beat the Chargers, which was probably their biggest win, and then they stomped over the Bears. But other than that, they haven't scored more than 25 points, I think, in any of those other games. So, I definitely feel like they can't be any higher than where they are, and maybe even drop them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'd definitely put Jacksonville over them. I'd probably put Dallas and even maybe Detroit, just because Detroit has the head-to-head win over them. But obviously, also, the Lions got blown out by Baltimore, so a little bit of reasoning behind that. At number 2, going up 2 spots at number 3, my bad. But they still also went up 2 spots. The Miami Dolphins. Look, man, they've been playing some damn good ball. Outside of the road games, man, they have been really dominant. And they played. Who did they play this week? We literally just covered it. They beat the Patriots 31-17. Yeah, man, the Dolphins have been really good. I think they're still probably the AFC favorite in my mind. It's just if they can start winning on the road and looking a lot better on the road, they'll definitely lock in that AFC favorite.
Yeah, I think so too. They have the offense to go all the way. It's just going to be that if that defense can hold up.
Yeah, if that defense can at least hold up somewhat, man, they could very well see themselves at least in a deep playoff run. Uh, Going up 2 spots to number 2 though is the Baltimore Ravens. I think honestly both these two teams, the Ravens and the Dolphins, you know they're both, I think, the favorites for the AFC right now. Um, Obviously Baltimore has a really really good defense. And it's going to get healthier as the year goes on too, which is definitely going to help. And Lamar, as much as I don't like him, man, he's been playing a lot better ball to start the last couple of weeks now. Obviously, that huge win over the Lions definitely made him look good, made him look a lot better than he really is, in my opinion. But yeah, man, the Ravens have been really good lately.
Yeah, I mean they dominated, man. That's what you got to do to prove yourself to be high up in the power rankings. So, you know, against Arizona, they won wasn't as dominant, but they have some dominant wins.
Yeah, that's for sure. And then lastly, going up 1 spot to the number 1 spot is obviously the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, look, they're 7-1. They have obviously the best record in the league. Um, AJ Brown the last 6 weeks has put up at least 125 receiving yards in every single game. Um, Jalen Hurts is playing at an elite level. Uh, DeAndre Swift has been playing some damn good football, and they obviously have one of, if not the best offensive lines, and their defense has also been very dominant. Yeah, they've played some close games, especially against some pretty bad teams in their division, like the Commanders, almost losing to them the first time they played, and then last week they only beat them by a touchdown. But yeah, man, look, Philly is just dominant. I think they're definitely right now the Super Bowl favorite.
Yeah, they're definitely the number one team, even though they were shaky at points in games this season. I mean, still only one loss. They're the only one loss team now, so got to put them at number one.
Yeah, and I mean, look, they've just been flat out dominant for the most part, outside of some, at times shaky games. But yeah, so that wraps up your NFL Power Ranking Blitz. So now we're gonna get into this weekend's college football top 25 matchups. Um, we'll start it right off with the new number 1 team. The Ohio State Buckeyes are on the road against Rutgers. OSU is an 18.5 point favorite in this one. Rutgers, man, they're bowl eligible now. They're 6-2 right now. They're actually one of the better teams in the Big Ten East. I believe they're fourth place right now in the Big Ten East. They've been playing some damn good football. Their defense is I believe they're top 10 against the run, and they're, I think, like ranked like 41st in overall defense. Ohio State's offense has not been looking good at all. They've struggled a lot against some pretty below average teams. Um, I think this is gonna be a pretty close game. I don't think OSU is gonna come close to covering that 18.5 point spread. That said, they probably could, just because their defense is elite, and Rutgers' offense is kind of just average. So yeah, man, I think Ohio State wins this one. I would love to see the upset. Rutgers could really do something funny here, but yeah, I think Ohio State will win this one.
Man, Rutgers will and always will be trash, man. I can't even believe that they got 6 wins this year. I actually think Ohio State's going to cover. I think that Ohio State's gonna destroy Rutgers. Rutgers has definitely been better than I thought, but I just I don't have faith in them against the top team, man. I mean, they beat Michigan State, but Michigan State literally was up 18 going in the fourth, and Michigan just slaughtered them 49-0. So it's like I think Ohio State is gonna have no problem with Rutgers.
No, and look, if you told me that Rutgers was going to be the fourth place team uh, in the Big Ten East going into the season, I probably would have actually believed it, just because Obviously MSU's horrible, Indiana's horrible, and Maryland, you know, yeah, they're okay, but I thought maybe that fourth place spot would probably be down between Rutgers and Maryland. And it really is down to it. I mean, Maryland's obviously 5-3, and Rutgers is 6-2 right now. Um, but yeah, man, Rutgers a lot better than I think a lot of people thought they would be this year. I saw it coming in that they'd probably be, one of the best, Big Ten teams in general, and they've kind of almost proven it. Um, I believe if you look at the overall standings, they're like sixth or seventh, which is average for the Big Ten, but not bad at all. Number three, Michigan hosts Purdue on Saturday night. Michigan a 32.5 point favorite. This is the rematch, I guess you could call it, for last year's Big Ten title game. Look, Purdue last year they were in the Big Ten title game. This year, Michigan's about to make them not bowl eligible. Purdue's 2-6 right now. Another loss that takes them out of bowl eligibility. I think Michigan wins this one. They're definitely going to cover.
Yeah, I think so too. It's going to be a nice, easy win for Michigan here.
Michigan obviously dominant, but they know Purdue's plays. So they're gonna dominate just because of that. Look, I'm a Michigan fan. All this stuff going on. We'll talk about this in future episodes, especially once we know a lot more and actually have some facts and not just allegations and whatnot. But yeah, man, it's just look. I don't even think they need to steal Purdue signs. I mean, they're just so much better of a team. Number 7, Texas hosts number 23, Kansas State. Texas is a 4-point favorite in this one. Look, Kansas State, they started the season off ranked in the AP polls. They fell off. Now the College Football Playoff Committee has put them into the rankings. They're at 23. They've been playing some damn good football lately. Texas has kind of struggled. Obviously, they don't have Quinn Ewers now, which definitely hurts them. I think they pull off the win here, but I think this is going to be a very, very close game.
Yeah, I'm going to go Texas as well. I think it will be close, but I don't think that Kansas is going to really have much of a shot. Like you said, they just got ranked again, so we'll see how they do. But I'm going Texas.
Number 10, Ole Miss will host Texas A&M. They're just a 3-point favorite in this one. Look, Ole Miss, they are fun to watch. Their offense is stellar. Their defense kind of, middle of the road. They're not really that good, but they're not, great. They're not bad though. But look, Texas A&M, they can't score, and their defense kind of blows. I think Ole Miss is gonna way more than cover this 3-point spread.
Yeah, I got Ole Miss too. I actually really like their team, so I think that they're gonna have no problem.
Yeah, I think Ole Miss is my favorite SEC team. So, they've been just really fun to watch, man. Clemson will host number 15 Notre Dame. Notre Dame just a 3-point favorite in this one. Look, Notre Dame, they're pretty decent. They're not the worst team ever, but they're definitely not a top 10 team by any stretch of the imagination. But that said, Clemson is just horrible this year. I think Notre Dame is definitely going to cover this 3-point spread. I think this is going to be a blowout.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Notre Dame's just the way better team. Clemson is not one of the top teams this year. I'm going to go Notre Dame.
Clemson, I know they're at home, man, but fuck. That's just, they're so bad, man. Tennessee, number 17, Tennessee hosts UConn. Man, Tennessee is a 36-point favorite in this one. UConn blows. I mean, they're 1-7, dude. I mean, they are. This is cupcake week for Tennessee. Tennessee's gonna eat a bunch of husky ass for fucking dinner in this game.
Yeah, easy win there. I mean, no explanation. 1-7, they're not gonna win.
No fucking way. Number 18, Utah hosts Arizona State. Utah, 10.5 point favorite in this one. Yeah, look, Utah obviously a loss last week to Oregon, getting blown out by Oregon. Not something you want to do, especially when I had you as a favorite to win the Pac-12. But I don't think they're going to be playing that Pac-12 championship game now, especially with two losses. But that said, Arizona State not a good team at all. Obviously, they held Washington to only 15 points, and no offensive touchdowns in that game. But I think Utah's gonna take care of business here. I think they cover that 10.5 points.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that they're gonna take care of business on this one, and the 10.5 point spread. I think they're gonna handle business as well.
Yeah. Number 25, Air Force is hosting Army. 17.5 point favorites is Air Force. Look, Army has struggled a lot this year. They obviously, they can only run the ball. They don't know what the forward pass is. They're still playing football like it's 1920. Air Force is very dynamic offensively. They can run, they can pass. And obviously, they're a Mountain West school, so if you're ranked as a Group of 5 school, man, you're doing pretty damn good. I think Air Force wins. They definitely cover as well.
Yeah, going Air Force here. Army just lost like 63-0 against LSU. They just don't have a good team. Air Force being ranked, they're definitely solid. So I'm gonna go Air Force.
Number 2, Georgia hosts number 12, Missouri. Georgia, a 15.5 point favorite in this one. Look, Missouri's been playing some damn good football this year. Obviously, the last few years they've been kind of a meme in the SEC, kind of like with maybe not necessarily at Vanderbilt's level, but Florida level, right? Texas A&M level. Like they can actually win some games, unlike Vanderbilt. But man, they've been playing out of their minds this year. I think this is going to be a much closer game than what Vegas thinks, being a 15.5 point spread. I think Georgia does win this one, but I think they're going to probably struggle early against Missouri. Maybe Missouri goes up 2 scores, but Georgia will come back. I mean, even without Brock Bowers last week, they played pretty damn good football. I know it was against Florida, and I know it was a neutral field and all that, shit, but at the end of the day, man, I know Missouri's a much better team than Florida, but I just don't think Georgia's going to cover that 15.5 points.
Yeah, I think with Brock Bowers being out, it's gonna be tough. I do think that Georgia will win the game, but I think it's possible they don't cover. Maybe a 10 or 14 point win instead.
I think it's going to be like a score for Georgia here, man. It's just not. I think Missouri's a lot better than what people will give them credit for, man. Like just the eye test alone tells you they're pretty damn good. And obviously the record shows it as well. Pitt will host number 4, Florida State. Florida State, a 21.5 point favorite in this one. Look, Florida State, this got off to a really strong start, beating LSU. They struggled against Clemson. They struggled against Boston College. Last couple weeks, though, man, they have been, lighting teams up again. Pitt blows. I'm taking Florida State, and they cover this one.
Yeah, I'm going Florida State too, man. I mean, they are just the way better team, man. Easy win here for Florida State.
Easy dub indeed. Number 22, Oklahoma State hosts number 9, Oklahoma. In-state rivalry in this one. OU just a 6 point favorite in this one. Look, Oklahoma State, they were never ranked at all this year in the AP poll. The playoff committee thought they deserved to be ranked, and now they're in the rankings. I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to Oklahoma State this year, but that said, they're 6-2. They did beat Kansas State, and they also beat a Kansas team that's very good. So I think, this is going to be a very close game. I think Oklahoma just barely pulls out the win, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Oklahoma as well. Um, I do think it's gonna be a close game, but Oklahoma they gotta bounce back after that loss that they just had, man.
Yeah, I mean, they lost to a very good Kansas team, so I don't think it was a bad loss by any means, but yeah, I just don't think Oklahoma State's going to be able to handle Oklahoma. Maryland hosts number 11 Penn State. Penn State's just an 8-point favorite in this one. Look, I think this is going to be a pretty close game. Penn State's defense, obviously, one of the best, if not the best in the country. Their offense just fucking sucks. Maryland's offense is pretty damn good. Their defense is kind of shit. I think this is going to be a pretty low scoring game. Maybe not low scoring, but around 40 points total in this game. I think Penn State does cover this 8-point spread though. But yeah, man, I would not be shocked though if Maryland keeps this very very close though, because just they did hold Ohio State to just 17 points in a half, and then obviously it blew up in their face. But yeah, man, I think Penn State definitely wins. I think they cover, but I could see this getting close.
Yeah, I think it'll be close, but I'm definitely gonna go with Penn State here.
Number 13, Louisville hosts Virginia Tech. Louisville a 9.5 point favorite in this one. Look, Louisville's been playing some damn good football this year. Virginia Tech has been okay at times. Um, they've certainly they certainly have a better record than I thought they would have this year. They're sitting 4-4 right now. I thought they'd be sitting in that 2-6, 3-5 range right now, but they aren't too far off from that, anyways. But yeah, I think Louisville wins this one. I think they definitely cover as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Louisville as well. Definitely, I feel like we'll be close, but I'm gonna go with Louisville.
East Carolina hosts number 24 Tulane. Tulane's a 17-point favorite in this one. Look, East Carolina, they're 1-7. Tulane is a ranked Group of 5 school. You got to go with them as a favorite. I think they're definitely going to win this one. Their offense has been really good this year. Their defense, like I said, has struggled at times, but they're able to keep themselves afloat, and they're 7-1 right now. I think Tulane easily covers this 17 points over East Carolina.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, 17-point favorite, and Tulane's not even that great. They for sure got this one.
Number 6, Oregon hosts number 20. Hosts California. They're a 24.5 point favorite in this one. Obviously, Cal, they've been pretty bad this year. They're sitting 3-5 right now. Um, they did keep it very close with USC this past weekend, with USC just winning by a single point. They kind of scared Washington a little bit at times. That said, though, I think Oregon, obviously, they're clearly the better team right now, and they are playing a lot better than really any of the SEC teams right now. I think Oregon, obviously, will cover this 24.5 points.
Yeah, I think so too. Oregon will be all right in this one.
Iowa State hosts number 21 Kansas. ISU is actually a 2.5 point favorite in this one. Look, I don't buy that. Obviously Kansas, I believe they have their backup, their backup quarterbacks in right now. Um, Bean, he's their backup. Look, I still think Kansas wins this one, man. Iowa State has been pretty good this year. But man, Kansas, they've been really good this year. Obviously, they have 2 losses, but very close losses, and obviously they just beat Oklahoma. So, yeah, man, I think Kansas wins this one.
Yeah, I got Kansas as well. Had the big win, man, and I think they're going to continue it.
Yeah, I mean, their second string quarterback beat Oklahoma. I mean, that tells you something. Number 20, USC hosts number 5, Washington. Washington, a 3-point favorite in this one. That offense has struggled the last couple of weeks. Obviously, no offensive touchdowns against Arizona State, and having a nail biter with Stanford is not something that you want to be doing, especially if you want to have a chance at winning this Pac-12 title and getting yourself into the playoffs. That said, USC's defense is still allergic to tackling. This is going to be a shootout though because Washington's defense isn't that great. Obviously, you have two Heisman, caliber quarterbacks going at it in this matchup. This is going to be a shootout. This is going to be a very high scoring game, very entertaining game if you like those. If you like those high scoring games where no one can play defense, good on you, I guess. I find those games boring, but regardless, I think Washington wins this one. I think they cover as well. USC's defense is just trash, man.
Yeah, USC gave up 50 to Cal. Like, yeah, their offense is not going to be able to keep up with what Penix is going to do to that defense. So I got Washington.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is USC's offense is elite, but their defense is so bad, and Washington's offense is elite, but their defense is actually pretty decent. So I feel like Washington's defense will get a couple key stops, and that's basically going to help propel them to this win. Number 8, Bama hosts number 14, LSU. Bama just a 3-point favorite in this one. I got LSU winning this one, man.
Same, bro,
Their
same.
their offense has been electric this year. Their defense not electric, but Alabama has not looked the whole lot great. I don't know why the committee felt that they should be at number 8. I don't see that, but there's a lot of SEC bias, so of course you got to put Bama at number 8. But that said, man, I think LSU is gonna win this one.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna go LSU too. I have a lot of faith in them. I think that they're going to win this one.
Like I said, man, this is the year it ends for Saban. Um, Anyways, Colorado hosts number 16 Oregon State. Oregon State a 13.5-point favorite in this one. Look, Colorado, obviously they're extremely overrated. Oregon State is a very good offensive team. Their defense has kind of struggled. I know they just came off a loss against Arizona. They're going to be looking to bounce back from that. Arizona, obviously, they have a really good defense right now. And yeah, man, I think Oregon State definitely wins this one. I think they cover that 13.5 points as well.
Yeah, I think so too. Colorado, man, just they have not been it, man. They were talked about so much, and then now they're just getting took down by teams. I think that they're gonna lose.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. They've had things stolen out of their locker rooms now twice this year. Um, part of me wonders if it's just part of the fact that Dion doesn't know how to be an adult and like tell his students, student athletes that he's coaching to not go around flashing off all their jewelry and stuff that they got now, and maybe people won't go into the locker room and go and steal it when you're not in there. You would think the responsible adult is supposed to do that, but he doesn't give a shit because he's not an adult, man. But regardless, I think Oregon State definitely wins this one. And then lastly, Arizona hosts number 19 UCLA. UCLA just a 2.5-point favorite in this one. And look, Arizona, they've been playing some damn good football lately. Obviously, the big win over Washington State, blowing them out, beating Oregon State now. Their defense has been incredible this year, which is really good to see, especially heading into a very tough Big 12 next year. That is something that you want to see out of that team. Or really any team moving to the Big 12 is you want to have a really good defense going in there, man, because those offenses are really, really good. That said, though, I think UCLA is going to pull off the W here. They've kind of been struggling lately. I just feel like their offense is going to be a little bit too much for Arizona's defense to handle. But I could see this one being very close still, but I do think UCLA wins.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with UCLA as well. Definitely just the more solid team here.
Yeah, that is for sure. So that wraps up this week's college football top 25 matchups. Real quickly though, we'll just cover the other team in the state of Michigan. Michigan State, they host Nebraska. Nebraska's a 3-point favorite in this one. Look, man, I hate to do it. I hate to do it to you, but I think Nebraska is going to win this one. They're 5-3 right now, which honestly I didn't think they'd be anywhere close to 5 wins this year. They've been playing a lot better ball this year. And Michigan State, they don't have a head coach. So yeah, I think Nebraska wins. I think they cover that 3 points as well.
Yeah, sadly, I think so too. Michigan State, just move on to next year, man. Just not your year.
It ain't their year at all, man. So yeah, that wraps up your college football games this week. Tuesday, we said that we had there was a trade in the NBA, so let's talk about it, man.
Yes, sir. So, um, we had James Harden getting traded. So most of you NBA fans will know James Harden. You know, he's definitely not as good of a player as he once was, but he's still probably a top 30 player in the league. So he's still very solid. He's on a big contract, though, and he's had issues with the 76ers front office, and he had requested a trade back a while ago, but they just really weren't honoring any requests that he had. And actually kind of gave in to the team he wanted to go to was the Clippers. So Harden is traded from the 76ers to the Clippers. So looking at the full trade here, the 76ers get Nick Batum, who is just washed up. He isn't really going to do much. Marcus Morris, same deal. Robert Covington, KJ Martin, probably the best player in the deal, and then multiple draft picks. I believe it was 2 first-round picks and I think a second round as well. And then the Clippers received James Harden, PJ Tucker, and Philip Petrusev, who I don't even know who that last guy is. So he's just a throw-in.
Just a bench warmer, that's all.
Yeah.
They basically gave the Clippers a water boy.
Yeah. Basically. So this trade, I think it's, solid. Of course, they really didn't have much leverage at all with Harden. He was actually sitting out. So kind of what I'm trying to think of a similar situation. Do you think of a similar situation like in football or something? Say like Jonathan Taylor, he was sitting out for contract negotiations.
Yeah.
Harden was doing the same thing, except for he was like, "Yeah, there's no way I'm coming back to this team. Just trade me." So they really didn't have much leverage with teams because they knew they had to get rid of him. So, like I said, the players they got back weren't really the greatest. I mean, there'll be role players on the team, but none of them are going to stand out. Like you said, Batum is old and washed up. Morris is kind of the same way. Covington, same thing. They're all just old 3-and-D players that really are old not and past their prime, even as role players. KJ Martin's probably the one that has the most potential to actually contribute something to that team. But it's going to be the draft picks that are going to help them out in the future, man. If they can hit on one of those first-round picks, Philadelphia does not have a good history recently of drafting good players. They drafted Embiid, but the rest of the ones they've done during the process have pretty much failed. They had Markelle Fultz, Ben Simmons, who was doing good and then flared out, and Julian Okafor, Nerlens Noel, whole bunch of busts there. So we'll see if they can be better at drafting with these picks here. And with the Clippers here, I think that, Harden, Kawhi Leonard, and Paul George, and Russell Westbrook now as well, that is a really solid lineup in the NBA. But I still don't think that they're championship favorites. I think they're still probably third or fourth in the West. I would take the Suns over them. I would take the Nuggets over them. And then they're probably like right in line with like the Lakers and the Warriors right now as like the next top team out west. So I think that the move for both teams is probably like a B minus grade wise, just because the Sixers were able to get at least some draft capital for Harden, which they knew they were going to need to move. But uh, the Clippers also really didn't give up that much. I mean, they gave up a couple picks and just a bunch of bum players. So we'll see how it goes in the future. But do you have any thoughts on this trade? I know you're probably not too familiar with any of these guys too well, but I know you know James Harden.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, I know James Harden. Look, I know he was sitting out, so obviously I knew the Sixers were not going to get a whole lot back, and obviously they clearly didn't. When a player's sitting out, you have no leverage in a trade, which, I mean, it does screw that team, but at the same time, you're not, sometimes I feel like these NBA teams give too much power to the players, um, but it is what it is. The players do kind of deserve some of the power that they do have, but yeah, man. I think obviously, yeah, the Clippers win this trade for sure. I don't, obviously I know the Sixers have a pretty bad draft record over the last few years as well. So are those picks really going to really matter? But yeah, man. I mean, like I said, the Sixers had no leverage here. It was obviously they needed to move Harden. He's just sitting on the bench and you're paying him. So I mean, yeah, interesting trade for sure. Definitely needed to happen. I saw like he came into like the Clippers locker room and a whole bunch of guys were just happy that he was there. So I mean that's kind of cool, I guess. But yeah, that's really it for me, man. From this, obviously, I don't really know anyone else in this trade besides James Harden, but from what you said, man, just a bunch of role players past their prime. That's you know all you're really gonna get for someone who's sitting around and doing nothing just because he doesn't want to play there.
Yeah, and even Harden himself is getting kind of old, man. He's 34, which I mean, NBA terms, that's pretty old. I mean, once you start getting past like 35, you're starting to definitely get into the old man territory in the NBA. So
Unless you're LeBron.
yeah, LeBron's about to be 39 and still like top 10 in the league right now.
Yeah, you kind of almost compare LeBron to Ovechkin, just the way that they just said screw the aging process.
Uh huh, for sure.
But so yeah, that wraps that up. And then lastly, we're gonna get into something. Uh, Obviously, we had a tragedy over the weekend in the hockey world. Adam Johnson, he played for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He died pretty much on the ice over in England in a game. He had his throat cut open. Very gruesome video. I don't know if you've seen it or not yet.
No, I heard about the injury, but I kind of figured I've seen videos before in the past of players, getting hit in the neck with a skate and lacerated. So I wasn't really going out of my way to watch it.
Yeah, you don't see a whole lot. You see a lot of blood gushing from his neck in the video, and that's about it. But yeah, I mean, he died in the hospital. There was really nothing they could do. But obviously, Matt Petgrave, the guy who cut him, is a lot of people are saying he did it intentionally. I've been playing hockey my whole life, man. I've never seen someone's legs kick up that high before. I think he did intentionally try to kick at Adam Johnson. I don't think he was trying to slash his throat or anything.
Guy, yeah.
No, but I think he was definitely trying to kick at him. I've never seen someone's legs kick up that high just from taking a hit or hitting someone for that matter. Unless someone went end over end. That's the only time you ever see that. But he didn't do that. I think he definitely tried to kick at him. That said, there's possibly, he's possibly looking at some action, but I know he said I know like he's sat out the last game now, personally for what happened. Like he sat himself out just because he's trying to process everything, which makes total sense. That said, the NHL right now, they're looking at trying to come up with some make mandatory neck protection for players. I know TJ Oshie tonight has willingly worn a neck guard tonight. The EIHL, which is a league that Petgrave and Johnson are playing in over in England, they've already came out. They've made neck guards mandatory for every single player now. And the WHL is the first junior league to also go ahead and implement neck guards. The NHL, it's going to be harder though because you have to go through the NHLPA and the NHLPA safety. Uh, I forget the name of their safety. It's another acronym that's way too long, but um, yeah. Obviously, we got to find a way to figure out how to prevent things like this from happening. Obviously, you have goalies wearing neck guards all the time. That's been a thing forever now. Um, and like I said, Oshie is wearing one tonight. Um, he's the only player that I know of right now that's playing with one now. But yeah, the NHL obviously they're looking to implement this. But Gary Bettman said, obviously they're looking into it. The NHLPA is looking into it, but trying to get it all to pass is going to be a issue. And then also they're looking at more of like doing it with like mandatory visors, how they did, like kind of just grandfathering it in. So like if you've been playing a certain amount of years in the league, you don't have to wear it, sort of deal. So, but yeah, man, obviously it's a big tragedy. Um, Petgrave, he does have a very bad history. Like he makes Tom Wilson look like a clean player if you look at his history. He's been suspended multiple times in the junior levels, the AHL, a couple times in the EIHL already. He could be looking at a suspension just for this. Obviously, like I said, he sat out. But man, what's your take on this with neck protection in the NHL or just in hockey in general? I guess.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm definitely for it. I mean, I don't really know how it's going to affect the players because this was a thing talked about in baseball actually for a while was pitchers wearing like hard hats because there was a time maybe 5, 6, maybe even 7 years ago where pitchers were getting drilled in the head on line drives back.
Yep, I remember that.
How can we protect our pitchers? And it never fully went through, but it was something I was always for, just for the player safety here. Um, like I said, if they feel comfortable with it, man, I'm all for them implementing this in. Like I said, I don't know how it's going to affect the player, if it's going to be a burden on some players, but I mean anything to increase the safety without detering the skill or players getting fed up about it. Hopefully, they can do it. And also, like I know back in the day, goalies used to not wear masks and stuff. Now it's like that would never happen nowadays. I mean, it's mandatory. You gotta wear some protection, man.
Yeah, and look, the goalies have been wearing neck guards forever. Um, since I believe like the 80s or 90s, it's been mandatory for the goalies to wear it. Um, Oshie said that wearing the neck guard as a skater is not going to affect you at all. It's literally like almost like wearing like a turtleneck vest or sweater. Um, it's just a pad that comes up uh, from your shoulder pads, and it just sits there, but it sits up tight against your neck, but not tight enough to where it's like moving with your neck. It just allows rotation in the neck. So he said it doesn't affect you at all. But yeah, man, I think mandatory neck guards is the way to go. Obviously, it is a freak accident. You don't really see guys getting cut up anymore. Um, you know, if you do, it's usually on the arms, and it's usually because someone just caught a skate at a weird angle and got cut up. But even then, they have protective coverings on those arms, and it cuts through, but it at least gives them a lot more protection. But I think it is the step in the right direction. I wouldn't be shocked also to see more guys start willingly right now wearing neck guards out there. But yeah, man, I'm all for the safety on it. I think it'd be great if the NHL and the NHLPA both decided that, like, yes, everyone needs to wear one because we can't have things like this.
Yeah, totally agree.
So that wraps it all up for today. We will be back on Tuesday, obviously, with reviews, power rankings, college football rankings, all that stuff, whatever else happens in the crazy world of sports. Obviously, now we're out with baseball's done, so that's one less sport for us to talk about, unless some trades or whatever happens. Um, but yeah, man. With that said, rate, review, subscribe, help us out. Let us know, hey, we want you guys to talk more about this, or whatever you guys want. We're here to listen. But thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you guys on Tuesday.